Welcome to the Talk Sox podcast. I'm Alex, and as always, I'm joined by Maddie. What's going on?
Happy Sunday. Happy if you're listening to this on Monday, happy Memorial Day.
Yes. A day for, as you know, here on the, if you listen to the Talk Sox podcast, you know that we are food aficionados. And Memorial Day is definitely a day to get out there and fire up a smoker or do something fun. It's going to be raining here in Missouri, so I think my smoker will stay dormant tomorrow. But
Yeah. Same here in Pennsylvania.
I think, what was it like? There's been like 4 or 5 games rescheduled, postponed over the last 2 days. I
hmm
can't believe the Red Sox played today.
Yeah, I was listening to it on the radio for the most part while I was doing stuff in the afternoon, but just then seeing some of the footage before I'm recording here, like you could barely see the field from the camera feed.
My favorite thing that would happen, and I was kind of bouncing back and forth. I had to run to the grocery store. I was getting dinner started and everything, and so I had the radio on occasionally, and I had the TV on occasionally. But my favorite thing is when it would cut to any camera that wasn't the main camera, and it was just covered in raindrops, and you couldn't see what was going on.
Yeah. Hey, it was better than having one single view from the dugout.
Yeah, I there's part of me that wishes that I could have watched that game like on TV, but I was there, so I didn't get to
Yeah.
experience that. Maybe it'll happen again. Nesson, we've talked about this. Nesson has just been not great this year.
Yeah, well, it was, just even on the radio, like it kept breaking up today,
Hmm.
and it wasn't because like I was in a dead zone or anything. I was connected to my
Right.
Wi-Fi at home, so yeah, just well, also there was an article that came out where Nesson recorded that it surpassed its. I always get the acronym for this mixed up. Earnings before interest.
Okay. Yeah.
Earnings before or interest. What epid epid
I'm with you. Okay. Yeah. Yes.
for the first time in 6 years.
Really?
And yeah, that's. I mean, you'd think, given that they stream every major sport in Boston, in addition to the Penguins and Pirates, that they would be raking in money, but they're not, which is weird.
That is odd. We've talked about it in the Slack channel because one thing that we think is going to, or I'm speaking for everybody that writes for the site, but it seems to be general consensus. One thing that we think is going to be a big sticking point in the CBA negotiations at the end of this year, head into next year, is the regional sports networks and just how easy it is to shuffle money around thanks to paperwork, and
Mhm.
how the Dodgers may have a $250 million agreement, but at the end of the day, not the Dodgers doing this. I think the Dodgers are probably telling everybody like, look at this 250 million bucks we have. But they could just do some things like paperwork wise that make it seem like they've made no money, even though that is nothing but pure profit for them. And FSG Fenway Sports Group owns Nesson, so it's entirely likely that some similar shuffling is going on behind the scenes with them as well. I'm not an accountant. I'm not a forensic accountant. That's way out of my. I teach English. That's way out of my realm of comfort. But I think the regional sports networks are going to be a sticking point. And if Nesson's reporting that they haven't made money in 6 years, I don't think that I believe
Yeah, just a couple other teams own their RSN. The Blue Jays are one.
that. The Yankees,
The
the Mets.
Yankees. I don't think that was the Whippen family that owned SNY,
Oh, that's right.
and now it's owned by Steve.
That's right. Yeah. Um, the Cubs don't own theirs,
They
do
they
they?
do own
Do they?
Marquee.
Okay.
Yeah. Um,
The
the
Dodgers,
Rangers have one.
obviously.
Yeah, it's kind of small though. They just
Mhm.
and they're called like their acronym is also RSN.
Okay. Ranger Sports Network.
I think that might be it. But
I mean, if it works, it works. But I don't want to get too deep into our opinions on regional sports networks and NESN as a whole. I do think that they've made the score bug smaller again, which is nice. The only time I ever actually notice it is in the sunny side second inning, where the vodka lemonade drink has sponsored the entire inning. That's about the only time I notice the score bug being there, unless I'm actively looking like for who's batting or something like that. So we've kind of decided to use. I write the weekly weekend review column here on the site, and so we've decided that moving forward, we're going to start kind of kicking off every episode with just kind of a weekend review, and recap kind of what's happened. I don't know about you, Maddie. I was pretty stoked after the sweep of the Royals. I got to watch none of it. I listened to it on the radio, because I live in Royals country, technically. I live in the state of Missouri. So both the Cardinals and the Royals are blacked out for me. So I didn't see any of the home runs or anything like that. But that was good baseball. That was really good baseball for 3 games.
it was. I think the Royals are really, really bad.
Yeah.
That's
Go ahead. I'll read you what I wrote once we get through this.
Okay, now this is annoying. I had an ad blocker, not ad blocker, the job blocker for the stupid AI overview on Google, but now I can't see the standings, so I have to like click into the website. Well, they're actually ahead of the Tigers now.
Yes. Yeah.
So
I mean, that division is the White Sox to lose, and we haven't played them yet.
Murakami's gonna hit a home run off of Greg Weissert.
Is it at Fenway this year?
That's a good question.
I know my wife and I talked about going to Chicago, so it has to be in Chicago because they played the Cubs coming out of the All-Star break last year.
They have matchup predictors already for a game in August.
Yeah, so it's not the July 4th series. They'll be in. They fly from Boston to Anaheim to play the Angels, and then fly from Anaheim to Chicago.
Oh.
To end June and start July. So the White Sox series is July 7th through the 9th. But they end the first half of the season against the Mets.
That could go either way.
Who scratched Juan Soto an hour and a half before first pitch today? And I haven't followed up on that. I don't know why. With the Mets, it could literally be anything.
Well, they've called up like half their farm system by now.
Yeah. That's still an interesting conversation. We talked about the Trevor Story to the Mets deal, 2-3 episodes ago. That's obviously dead in the water. Story, for those who may not know, if you're following and listening to this, I imagine that you're plugged in pretty much all the time and you follow the team at least through 162. Story is he had successful sports hernia surgery, is out 6 to 10 weeks with an expected return right around the trade deadline. So you may get a team that's willing to take his money, part of his money, if they think that they can get something out of him. I think that he'll probably finish the season with the Red Sox now that he's had this surgery. And obviously we've got an injury roundup coming up later. I don't want to get too far into it right now. But yeah, what I wrote about the Royals. This is the first couple lines in my weekend review that's coming out tomorrow. The Red Sox have swept 2 teams this year, and both were penciled to win the AL Central at one point or another. That should have given any fan of this team something to grab onto to celebrate. But both the Tigers and the Royals are pretty much in the same boat as the Red Sox right now. So sweeping the Royals in late May doesn't feel much like a victory.
Amen. Yeah,
I mean, if we had hit Cole Reagan's around, if we had hit Bubich around, like okay, we got a bullpen game in game 2. Michael Wacha struck out 9 through 6 innings in game 3.
just Michael, like how old is he? He's kind of old now, right? He is 34.
Yeah, talk about ancient.
Well, for a baseball player, for a professional athlete. Yeah, I wish they had kept him.
Yeah, at the time I was like, oh, he's not going to amount to much anywhere else. Like he's probably that was what 22.
Yeah, 22.
So yeah, he was 30. Like okay, he's got a couple more years left in him, and he's been a really good pitcher for the Royals.
Reliable.
Yeah, he had a complete game for the Red Sox, didn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I thought. In Anaheim, I think.
Huh.
Was that no? Trevor Story separated his shoulder the next season.
I remember
Also
that.
in Anaheim, or that was in 24 in Anaheim. Yeah, so beating up on the Royals, that's fine. Your scores for each game: Boston 3, Royals 1, Red Sox 7, Royals 1, Red Sox 4, Royals 3. That's 7 you like, but it was on a 3-run Jarren Duran home run in the top of the 9th when the game was already pretty much decided. Offense is great in all shapes and forms, but if it's garbage time, I don't put nearly as much stock into it. Duran can't seem to perform when the pressure is on, as evidenced in game 2 when a sweeper hung in the zone all the way to the top of the zone for the last strike of the game, and Duran just watched it and then challenged it as though the ball wasn't 3/4 of the way inside the strike zone.
Well, there have been too many games where Jarren Duran is in a high leverage situation and he just looks clueless at the plate.
Yeah, I don't want to get into Duran because I think that as we get closer to the trade deadline, that's going to be a conversation that we're having frequently. I think that it'll be a hot button topic on the website as well. I don't understand how he's still with this team. I don't, and I'm not going to get into it right now. Anybody who's listening, anybody who reads the site knows my feelings on Jarren Duran at this point. But you're right. He or Caleb Durbin seem to come up in high leverage situations, and neither one of them can do anything with it.
Well, Durbin hasn't been playing that much recently because my favorite Red Sox player, Nick Sogard, is back.
A little Sogi.
And he's playing really well.
He is, yeah. Sogi has been great. And I don't hate the platoon with Durbin.
Mm-hmm. And well, I love Nick Sogard, but he's not swinging pitches that are obviously outside the zone. He'll put up a good at bat, work up the pitcher's count.
Had a triple tonight.
He had a triple. He'll play. He plays good defense wherever he is on the field.
Yeah, that short hop in game 2, or game 1 maybe against the Twins, where like the ball bounced in front of the plate, and then he tried to play it off the hop at third right after he had been subbed into the game, and he kind of boofed it. That doesn't bother me. He hadn't been in the game the whole time. The next day, he played a very similar ball perfectly. I fully believe that if Caleb Durbin was 2 inches taller, the Red Sox probably win Friday. There were 2 balls that just went off his glove, just because he wasn't able to close his glove around him. If that's Sogard at third in that scenario, he probably makes those catches. It's unfortunate.
With Durbin, I know he leads baseball in is it defensive run save?
Yeah, DRS, yeah.
Yeah. But at the same time, sometimes I see he doesn't make plays because of his height, and I'm thinking, So, like, something isn't adding up here, and I know that, like, he does make a lot of good plays, but sometimes I'm just like, "Hmm," and I
Yeah,
yeah.
and I think that I've talked about this kind of before. If he had just played second base, I don't think that it's a conversation at all. I think Marcelo makes those catches. Nick Sogard makes those catches. Andrew Monasterio at third probably makes those catches. Um, if Sogard was at second base, I say Sogard, I meant uh, Sogard Durbin. If Durbin was at second, then Sogard is there, or Meyer is there, or whoever at third, and they make those plays. You can be short and play second.
Mhm.
You can't really be short and play the hot corner in professional baseball.
Yeah. Yeah, who's yeah, Albies? Yeah, Albies plays second, and he's, like, roughly the same height as Durbin, and he's a very
Altuve,
yeah, and, yeah, both of them are, yeah, good second baseman.
yeah. It the thing about second base is if it's a liner over your head that you can't get to, the center fielder is 90% of the time right behind you. At
Mhm.
third base, the left fielder is rarely directly behind you unless they're playing the line like crazy and just giving up the rest of left field. So anything that gets over his head is going to get down, and it's probably going to roll into a corner because, and not just because it's Jaron. Even if it was Roman, you're just not playing there, and you're going to have to get to it, and you're going to have to play an angle to the ball, and it's not good. So while he's a great defensive third baseman, I think that he's a limited great defensive third baseman solely because of his height.
And he can't help that. I mean,
No,
he's
I'm not a
yeah.
tall dude either. Like I get it. I think I'm taller than him, but I'm not taller than many people, so I take it where I can get it. But I'm like 5'9", 5'10" on a good day. So I'm taller than Caleb Durbin. So I'll take that. But if you can't if you can't fill the position, back up a little bit. I played third growing up before I became a catcher. And I had to play back on the dirt just because I knew that anything that was kind of hit with the potential of over my head, if I played 2 or 3 steps back, I had a better shot at snagging it out of the air as opposed to letting it get over my head. But I'm not an infielder's coach for the Red Sox. That's not my job to to explain to him positioning on the field. But give me more Nick Sogard at third. I like it a lot, and I think that he's a valuable player. I think he should have been on the 26-man roster from opening day,
Yeah, I well, well,
especially over IKF.
that was for I yeah, for Izzy.
Oh yeah, yeah. Did you see? I saw it today. So apparently, after the game last night, IKF hopped on MLB The Show and was playing online. Um,
Huh.
because the IKF The Show. Hold on. Because uh, and they like the name was like Isaiah K7, and so everybody was kind of like, but then it has the real 99 card, which they give exclusively to professional baseball players,
Huh.
and you can't trade them in anything. He doesn't even start on his own the show team. He pinch hit himself.
Oh, oh, oh. Well,
Oh,
he's
now
trying
I
to
need to
win.
find it now. I did think that he walked off the game tonight or
I
today.
thought I thought he did too,
Man,
but I was excited, and after
I
all
was stoked
that,
for him. Yeah,
yeah.
if you watch the replay, he was dead to rights at second base if they had decided to go to second instead of home with Wong.
Mhm. I also just the base running is starting to really bother me.
Yeah,
They can't be making boneheaded decisions when yeah, they're a small ball team and they're not gonna. I mean,
have
they
you
won't get that
seen
many chances to score.
Have you seen the Twins broadcast of Wong in that play?
No, I haven't.
So who was on second? Um, I forget who was on second. Wong was on first. IKF hits what looks like a walk off. Wong runs 3/4 of the way to second and just kind of like treads water until he realizes that it's going to hit the wall, and then he tries to like get up and go. Had he just kept running, he's probably safe. And it's a gutsy throw or a gutsy send by Epperson, and I understand what he's doing. The ball was wet. You saw Willier airmail one in the first. But if Wong just is hustling, it's a tie ball game.
And I don't. I know the Talk Sox was founded by Twins fans, but I'm gonna say I don't think I I don't think any of the Twins outfielders were that good to have really strong arms. And Buxton wasn't in
No,
the game today,
right?
so yeah, it's just I yeah, it's just the 2026 Red Sox. I mean, I don't
Yeah,
expect much from them.
this was the most 2026 Red Sox game there could ever be. If Duran doesn't get hit by that pitch in the ninth, IKF scores after the balk. It's a tie ball game there. Like, there's just so many, and we've talked about this with this team kind of ad nauseum now. There are just so many what if moments all season. What if Narvaez doesn't bobble that ball to get the out because what was that in the sixth? The runner was clearly out if Narvaez just makes the tag by like 3 or 4 steps. Similar to the Willson Contreras play yesterday, which I have no problem with. I have no problem with the Willson Contreras play yesterday. That he honestly probably made the safest call for their catcher's safety and his safety. If he goes head first, it's probably a separated shoulder. If he slides in feet first, he probably sprains an ankle. So pulling up and running into him without sending his full weight, which would have sent the catcher reeling, is probably the most effective and safe way he could have made that play. And maybe the catcher drops the ball and you score the run. Like, I've got no problem with the little contact at the plate. But it's just there are just so many what if situations with this team. And I think a lot of it, and this is on the rundown if you're watching on YouTube, is this team can't play at home. Kauffman is not an easy stadium to play in. It's a deep stadium. It's a very big stadium. Fenway is tailor-made, supposed to be, for this entire lineup. But at the moment, after today, they are 8-17 at Fenway Park, which is the worst home record in Major League Baseball. Every other team has at least 10-plus wins at home. Last year, you did not want to play the Red Sox at home. It was common knowledge. If you were playing at Fenway, it's probably a series win for the Red Sox. This year, cake.
Yeah, they have a 70 WRC plus at home, which is dead last.
Yeah.
Their ISO is 0.102. No, their BABIP actually isn't that bad. Bad. It's ranked 20th. It's not last, but I'm moving goalposts.
For them, that's not bad.
And then, they have a 0.624 OPS.
Oh, man. I don't get it. You've designed – and, I mean, you've had slow starts from Roman, who's now been out. Marcelo has not been playing as well as you had hoped he would. Willier has been really good but goes through cold spells. Ceddanne plays well at home. Contreras plays well at home. Narvaez has not been very good this year. I think that hasn't been talked about a lot. I think it's just because like Narvaez is so like he's ingrained himself with this fan base. I did see a little bit of scuttlebutt about it on Twitter today. Just kind of, hey, like if we're talking weak spots for the Red Sox, like we need to look at catcher too. It's not just third and short and sometimes second or short, sometimes short now with Marcelo in second. Like catcher has not been a great spot, and Wong has cooled off considerably.
Yeah, I know Narvaez is an elite defender, but even then, sometimes he'll make the occasional mistake where I'm just like, come on, dude, like letting a ball pass by him or just something like Yeah.
What's his caught stealing rate this year? Because it's got like I feel like he's been
Uh,
ran on.
It's it's in the 75th percentile with one.
Okay.
But yeah, his pop time is 1.99, so he's not qualified there. And I mean, yeah, framing wise, I mean, the 95th percentile, blocks above average, 94th percentile. So I mean, some like I look at his Savant page and then I watch him like during the games, and I'm like, something really isn't adding up here.
Hmm. And like you're saying, you can't put your finger on it.
Hmm.
Just
And
something seems to be wrong with Narvaez. Not. I'm not saying injury or anything like that, but something's going on.
and I I know the team was interested in Real Muto in the off season. I'm
Hmm.
not that high on him. Just I think
I'm
he's
not either.
washed. But even like, do they? Well, they actually got a couple catchers in the off season, but none of those guys are
Jason
not.
DeLay.
Yeah,
I forget who else.
but none of those guys are knocking on the major league door.
No, and if they were, they're in a Wong position. Like they're coming in as the backup.
Mhm.
This the catcher's job is Narvaez's until something changes, um, which we can get into a potential change with this last bullet point. Um, if you're not watching, you're just listening. That's called a cliffhanger. We're leaving you on a cliffhanger for the last bullet point. Um, Building suspense there. Um, but yeah, Narvaez, and this isn't on the rundown, but Narvaez hasn't been good. Um, and Wong was playing well when everybody else wasn't. And as everybody's starting to heat back up, Wong is kind of crashing back down to earth. He had a couple of spots over these two series, the Royals and Twins. We've kind of bounced around the Twins series um, to make some noise and to get some RBIs. And it's a weak ground out, it's a strikeout, it's a pop out. Maybe the two best things that happened to this series were both today. Masataka Yoshida with his first home run of the season. It looked like a little pesky job, and then you looked at the distance on it, it was 393. He put a ride into that ball.
Yeah, he hit it pretty hard too.
Yeah,
Like I think
and that you
109.
like to see that. Yeah, you like to see that. He's kind of been when he was signed. Oh, one of the best power hitters in Japan. He's coming over here. He's going to take a little bit, but once he gets the speed under him, he's going to hit nothing but nukes. And it's been pretty not that. So to see him get around on one and send it a good ways, like you said, 109 off the bat. Um, did you see his quotes today about baseball being a business?
No.
Yeah, let me pull it up.
So the team is sucking the joy out of the game for everyone.
Pretty much. Masataka Yoshida, when asked about the possibility of being traded to a team where he could be an everyday player, he said it's part of the game, right? If it happens, it happens.
That's sad. I mean,
Whereas, like last year, he was pretty adamant, like I don't want that to happen. Like, but he was also pretty adamant and vocal when he wasn't getting playing time in
mhm.
24 and going into last year. So I think for him to have kind of been like, "Meh, if I get traded, I get traded." That's pretty telling.
And yeah, I mean, like, this is the epitome of parasocial, what I'm about to say, but he seems like a pretty happy-go-lucky guy, at least from the video yeah, broadcast footage, just interviews, like
Hmm.
yeah, jovial, and to see him like or to hear him like admit to it's just a game, like that's sad.
Yeah, I honestly like, and I don't want this to sound any type of way, but like, I think he probably needs to go back to Japan. I don't think that he's happy over here. Um, I think that if he went back to Japan, he would be heralded as the rock star that he was there. As we saw in the WBC when he is playing for Samurai Japan, like he's a different player.
Mm-hmm.
He approaches the game differently. And I think that if he went back to Japan or he went somewhere where he had some other Japanese teammates, I think that might help. Which, I mean, we're looking at the Dodgers, the Cubs, the Astros, really, or where like your big names are, the White Sox. But Amai with Astros hasn't been good. You've
Yeah.
got Seiya and Imanaga with the Cubs, which is always, we've talked about Seiya Suzuki on here a
Mm-hmm.
number of times. He was my ideal target when he was coming over that season. Obviously, you got Shohei and Roki and Yamamoto with the Dodgers and Murakami with the White Sox, and there's other Japanese players around the league. I'm not trying to show myself, but you have to assume that if Masa wants to play with somebody from Japan, he wants to play with people like that.
Well,
Akamoto.
Yeah. I don't want him to go become a matcher for the Blue Jays.
No, because he will.
He will. Yeah. Well, shoot. There's the dude on the Rockies. Sagano. He was with the Orioles last year.
Oh,
yeah. Yeah, but well, yeah. This dude was also mentioned in the Bob Nightingale report about Chapman. Shoot. The Rockies closer.
Oh, yeah, I know who you're talking about. I don't remember his name off the top of my head.
Senzatella.
Yeah, he'll command a pretty good deal at the deadline as well.
Mm-hmm. And
so the Cardinals have O'Leary. If the Cardinals fall off a cliff like their pitching predicts they will, their closer will be a hot commodity as well. O'Brien, maybe O'Leary, O'Brien, something like that.
And knowing Heim, he's going to get a hole, and it seems like just the sellers are the ones who come out on top at the trade deadline.
Right now, yeah. I mean, that's how it's been really for the last couple of years. Obviously, like you've got some deals that have happened.
Tommy Two Tanks with the Cardinals. Yeah, that was a good
one. Where it pays the dividend that the team that's acquiring the blockbuster player wants to, but it feels like more often than not now. Like, I mean, once again with the Cardinals, like look at Helsley last year. He was traded to the Mets and he fell on his face.
And well, yeah, and this year I don't think he's getting that many save opportunities with the Orioles.
Probably not. I don't like, and I guess Sonny Gray now kind of flies in the face of it. Like, but there is that thought of, can people pitch in big markets if they're not used to it? And Helsley was taken from a passionate fan base in St. Louis, but a small market in St. Louis, and thrust into the New York media circus and wasn't treated kindly there. They raked him over the coals. Baltimore's obviously a smaller market, but if you haven't proven yourself, you haven't proven yourself.
Yeah, I mean, from the New York Post to SNY, they're not too kind to players, even when they're doing well.
Yeah. So it's interesting, like, and I guess we can jump the injury roundup because we don't have a ton. Romy Gonzalez is taking swings. He's been taking ground balls. Trevor Story, obviously, like we've talked about, 6 to 10 weeks. Kind of best case scenario for a sports hernia. Puts him back right around the trade deadline a little bit after. It was treated like breaking news a few days ago when Sam Kennedy said that Roman Anthony had sprained a ligament in his finger on his right hand or left hand. Roman told us that the day he went on the IL. Like that it was, oh my gosh, I can't believe they're keeping stuff from us. It's been out for 3 weeks. We all knew it.
And also just seeing the narrative being pushed by people online that he doesn't care about playing, like it's absurd.
Or that he's made of glass, like he was swinging so hard that he that he sprained a tendon in his finger when he stopped.
Yeah, and that's the thing about bat speed and all that, where I just worry
Mhm.
about the conditioning. I mean, he had an oblique issue last year that set him out for the the end of the season, and
Yeah.
just if like a dude is swinging that hard and they're tearing a ligament or spraining a ligament in their finger, just how does that affect their longevity?
Look at Tristan Casas.
Yeah, another example. Just
Like, he he swings so hard that he cracked cartilage in his rib cage.
that's just that's oh,
That's
I can't.
wild.
Yeah, just yeah. I don't. I just I'm not high on this team's just approach to hitting in general.
Yeah, was it Craig? Did you read that Craig quote a couple days ago?
Yeah, from the Mass Live article
Yes.
where they
About
said it was.
drive line.
Hmm. And the two components are basically making good swing decisions and hitting the ball hard.
Yeah. Here's the full quote on this. We're not looking to be Driveline. We're not looking to be another organization. We're the Boston Red Sox. We have our beliefs, our methods, and our information. We also have to recognize that facilities like Driveline and others, there are a number of prominent external resources that players are seeking out and going to in the offseason. If we ignore that reality, we're not going to be able to meet players where they are. We have a number of staff members who have spent time as trainers at Driveline on the hitting and pitching side. More so than saying, therefore, that means that as a matter of principle, that's word salad. We're going to employ every belief Driveline has. I'd say it means we have a bunch of coaches who have experience working with coaches and marrying information with the practical application of influencing a pitch or a swing. Don't let him talk anymore. It,
Uh,
everything is just so like it's word salad. Everything sounds disingenuous.
a part of I don't want to. Well, I wonder if he's on the neurodivergency spectrum.
I okay. I'm glad you said that. I've had that
Yeah.
thought. I didn't want to bring it up. We've talked about like personally, like what
Mhm.
that whole spectrum means to me. Um, and yeah, I once again, this is not my area of expertise. I don't diagnose these things.
Mhm.
Wouldn't shock me one bit.
Yeah, just sometimes I like he's very smart, which I'm also not a licensed psychiatrist in any way. Just yeah, he shows some signs of being yeah on the neurodivergency spectrum, and I'll leave
Hmm.
it there.
I we've talked about this on here. I think last episode. If Craig was just the director of pitching for the Boston Red Sox and was able to make deals on that side of the baseball, your
Mhm.
Garrett Crochet trade, things like that, great. And if there was somebody else to run literally every other portion of the front office, great. I don't think that Craig would ever take that demotion with the Red Sox now, even though I think that's probably what's best for both sides. Um, we've talked about this in the Slack channel a little bit, but I think it's a conversation worth having as we're getting into the end of May. Our next episode will be recorded on or around June 1st. Um, do we trust Craig Breslow, who says he wants to? The report came out what 2 days ago that this morning maybe that the Red Sox are calling teams about right-handed power bats um, just to gauge the market. Sam Kennedy has said that the trade conversations have started earlier than ever this year. Dave Dombrowski said the same thing a couple of weeks ago. So teams are looking to start making deals, and Craig is apparently contacting teams to see who might be willing to trade some right-handed power bats. Do we trust him to do that?
No,
No. Oh no.
no.
Not even a little bit. I don't want him making those phone calls.
He's shown that just based on his demeanor, I don't think he's um great to work with, and And teams also know that he's looking for a right-handed power bat. It's public. I mean, this should have been done in the off season, but it's almost June, and I mean, they can make him overpay for that.
And any deal that's made right now is going to be an overpay from the side that's acquiring whoever. So in this case, the Boston Red Sox. I don't even
Even at the
know.
deadline.
Yeah, it's going to be a steep price at the deadline, no matter what. I don't even know who would be available. You know, there was rumblings about Yordan Alvarez. I think your baseline is the Juan Soto trade.
Yeah, and ooh,
Jordan's got 2.5 years of control left.
yeah. Oh, this one at Abrams. So like what? Franklin Arias,
And
Mackenzie Gore,
probably Connolly early.
Connolly early. Yeah, and
You're looking at for somebody like Yordan Alvarez. You're looking at a Franklin Arias, probably Henry Godbout, who's been playing out of his mind at Double-A. Early or Tolley,
mhm.
and probably another piece.
Yeah, because there was another dude. Was it Luke Voigt? It might have been Voigt.
Yeah. But yeah, that trade was nuts, and like that's a ton of capital to give up from
Mhm.
like if you're the Red Sox. And I don't disagree. Like I think that kind of Heim's problem was he overvalued prospects for the most part, and kind of refused to trade them. I think that Craig has done a pretty good job at prospect trading. I know Buster only tried to dunk on. Did you see that? Like
I
talking
saw
about
that.
Blaze
Yeah.
Jordan. Heim Bloom didn't protect Blaze Jordan in the Rule 5 draft. Nobody thought that Blaze Jordan was going to play the way he's playing right now. And I would trade Blaze Jordan again for the 2.5 months of Steven Matz that we had, who was awesome with the Red Sox. Wish they'd have
Mhm.
kept him. Like he makes a lot of sense in this bullpen, but especially if you're needing an opener for Brian Bayo every time his turn through the rotation comes. Steven Matz used to be a starter. But I don't hate that trade. Olney is a New York shill for the most part. I don't credit a lot of what he says. If it's not a pro Yankee stance, it's probably going to be put in a negative light when it comes to Buster. But I mean, who's out there like as a right-handed power bat that could be had? Pete Alonso?
Yeah. I wish. Well, that would have been an off-season thing.
Right.
The options aren't that sexy. I'm looking at Fangraphs right now. And all these guys are, they're just on long-term contracts.
You've got Jorge Soler in Anaheim, who's currently slashing 210, 298, and 707.
Hmm.
I
Well,
don't hate Zach Neto, however you say his name.
Neto. Wasn't there
There's
talk
some
about
injury
him?
concern there. Yes, that
Yeah.
around the Durbin deal. He's right-handed, currently slashing 224, 333, 762, 10 home runs, 24 RBIs, 7 stolen bases. Like I said, a little bit of injury concern there.
Oh, he's a fun
But
player to watch.
yeah, I think that would have been a better deal than what they did with Durbin, but it's obviously whatever the Angels were asking for. Yeah, last season he had right shoulder surgery in March, and then was activated pretty quickly. He had shoulder surgery on March 24th, was activated on April 18th, went on the 10-day IL with a left hand strain, retroactive September 13th and September 16th, was reinstated on the 29th. So, man, not as bad as I thought.
Well, there's another Angels player who's been has been appearing a little bit and making their rounds on social media. He also has a high injury risk.
Significant injury history.
Yeah. He is
But
an East Coast
if
native,
if you're driving down Lansdowne and he's at bat, you're probably going to get hit with a baseball.
Mm-hmm. And when he's healthy.
I think, if you don't know, we're talking about Mike Trout. I think that if you brought him here and he DH'd only, I don't hate it.
Yeah. Oh, he is just so boring.
He is white bread and milk toast like that.
Well,
is like
he's from New Jersey. I mean, I don't expect that much of a personality from with just and he's an Eagles fan, so that's a double homicide. But
yeah.
Anyway, I just think knowing his history, if you would trade a haul for him, like he would get injured like that, and then they would be in a worse position tied to his contract.
Yeah, I don't know if it would take a haul necessarily, just because of how expensive he is. I'm sitting here, like going through a few like potential options, and just all of them suck. Mark Vientos, maybe. I don't even know what those numbers look like though. 231, 271, 665, 6 homers. Don't love that.
Are the Marlins still in? No, I think they've been kicked out. Otto Lopez would be interesting.
I love Otto Lopez. There is one name that I would really, really like to stay away from. But he was floated over the summer or over the winter, and that is Michael Busch, who's come back down to earth, but he's a lefty. So he doesn't check that box. Maybe they trade Dansby.
Oh man. A girl can dream.
Let's see. The other. No, that doesn't even make sense either. There. Yeah, who are you going to trade for? Who are you going to trade for?
Vladimir Guerrero Jr.
Hey, he's been awful this year. He has been a league. Well, I say awful for him. He's been a league average player at best this year. Yeah, sign me up for that. We've talked about Tatis multiple times on here. I think that does make a lot of sense for the Red Sox. The power hasn't shown up. He still is homerless. All of his expected numbers are still pretty good. Let me pull them up. Yeah, his expected WOBA is 70th percentile. Expected batting average is 74th. His expected slug is 41st. His average exit velo is almost 91 miles an hour. That's good for 77th. His barrel percentage is 10.7, good for 70th. His hard hit rate is still in the 97th percentile. His bat speed is still in the 89th percentile. But his sweet spot, I mean, he's not landing anything. He's not barreling much of anything. Or he's barreling a lot, but he's not squaring up a whole lot. I mean, he's not chasing a lot. Or he is chasing quite a bit this year. His whiffs are up a pretty good amount this year. His strikeouts are up this year. But his walk rate is still pretty good. I mean, I think if you bring him into Fenway He probably hits pretty well there, if we're being honest. Man, looking at that spray chart, there's not even anything that gets out. You've got one maybe that gets out in Fenway. Maybe. Yeah, let me put a spray chart over Fenway.
Well,
not his dad.
Would the if well Buxton?
I actually thought about that. I don't hate it. The Twins are probably clearly selling. I just need. I am curious. What are Tatis's numbers like at home or at Fenway? We'll look at that here in a second too. Okay, so if we overlay his spray chart over Fenway Park, he's gotten multiple outs that would probably be homers. I say multiple too. So if you overlaid his home spray chart on Fenway Park, which obviously isn't a perfect comparison, if you overlay his home spray chart over Fenway Park, he has 3 home runs on the season. Let's look. I just want Fenway Park over his career. All years, and I want his batting average, OBP, slug, expected, WOBA. We'll go WOBA too. I know this is riveting listening. His numbers at Fenway aren't great. Let me add in. He's hit no home runs at Fenway. His
How many
slash
plate appearances?
line. He's seen 53 pitches, so not a lot.
Okay.
Let me tag plate appearances in here. I forgot that. Plate appearances, he's had 14. So very small sample size. Very, very small sample size. But his slash line is 167, 214, 333. His expected average is 231. So you're looking at, a decent gap there. His expected OBP is almost 100 points higher than his actual OBP. And his expected slug is about 50 points higher than his actual slug. I think that if you give him time to adjust, then he's fine. But is that time that you want to devote to him? Probably not. The only other name that I think makes any sort of sense is Corey Seager, but he's a lefty.
He's also he's been dealing with a lot of back issues, which is a red flag.
Yeah.
Well, ooh.
Yeah, I mean, back to the discussion. I'm sure that's what you're looking at too. Like, who are you trading for? Who's the right-handed bat?
Well, where's the? I mean, my thing is the first question you need to ask is which position needs the biggest upgrade? At the start of the offseason, it was second base. We thought Narvaez would carry his rookie season performance into his sophomore season. He was overperforming a lot of his baseline stats last year, and we've seen him regress to those this year. But that was a tangent. But yeah, second was the obvious choice. Now it looks like second, third, and catcher.
Yeah, I assume you're taking short out because Marcelo's at short.
Yeah, there's also Franklin Arias down the road, unless he's traded in one of these packages.
which that was interesting. Was it in the what series was it where Chapman was seen hugging everybody in the bullpen, and then
Mhm.
Arias got pulled from the game like 10 minutes before?
Mhm.
There's no trade in the world that makes sense to trade both of them to the same team.
Yeah.
Like there's no trade in the world where you would trade your 38-year-old closer and your 20-year-old upcoming potential all-star shortstop in the same deal. That's ridiculous. Now, was I nervous? Yeah, because I don't know if anybody not named Garrett Crochet is actually untouchable for this roster.
Yeah. Well, there seems to be one player who's been untouchable, and his name is Jared Duran, but we're not gonna jump into that rabbit hole again.
So
Oh, well, who Hunter Goodman?
I've okay. I actually hadn't thought about that.
Uh, you also, I mean, I don't think this makes sense given that they're in first place, but Shea Langeliers is killing it
Shea
this year.
Bangaliers. Little
Shea,
Shea Bangaliers.
well, that's a
If I'm the A's, nobody that's part of that core is touchable. Kurtz, Sodi, Bangaliers, I think, is untouchable. You thank Dallas Braden for that one. That's what he calls him, Shea Bangaliers. I actually think the only person on, or the only part of that core that you could probably trade for is Lawrence Butler. Doesn't make sense here. He's
Mhm.
regressed for 3 seasons now, or 2 seasons. Seems to kind of maybe be on the outs there in Oakland, Sacramento, Vegas. I like Lawrence Butler a lot. He's a right fielder on a team with 3 right fielders if he's traded here.
Mhm.
The other option, and I think maybe if you've got another name, I think you try to revisit the Ketel Marte discussions with Mike Hazen. He has started waking up, currently slashing 262, 316, 772 with 8 home runs, 27 RBIs, 195 at bats. Over the last 7 games, he's hitting over 500 with 3 home runs. Over the last 15 games, man, he's done most of that damage in this last week. Over the last 15 games, he's scored 13 runs. 11 of those have come in the last week. 22 hits over the last 15 games. 15 of those in the last 7. 3 home runs over the last 15 games. 14 RBIs. 12 of those in the last 7 games. He has only struck out once in a week, though.
I have no words for that. Well, good for him.
But in the offseason, that was going to cost you Marcelo Meyer and Connolly Early.
Yeah, the Diamondbacks have also been playing pretty well, and they are just half a game back from the wild card. So
Yeah,
I don't know if they would be open to a trade at the moment. But I mean, if they're out of it come the end of July, then it certainly would be worth calling.
absolutely.
And yeah, I mean, they need pitching, and the Red Sox have a lot of pitching. It seems to be a good matchup on paper.
I said over the offseason that I would try to find a way to include Brian Bayo in a deal for Ketel Marte. Because I think that if he goes to Arizona, it's much less stress. He doesn't have to worry about the media and the. I mean, the Diamondbacks have a good fan base. They're solid fans, but they're not going to be as demanding as Red Sox fans. But yeah, like you said, the Diamondbacks are playing good ball. Would they? I don't think that you shouldn't be willing to trade your starting second baseman, your all-star caliber second baseman, if you're playing that good of baseball. I don't know. There's not many options that are actually out there. Isaac Paredes is probably, if anybody is acquired at the deadline, it's probably him.
No. Oh,
I don't
I
love
don't.
that at all.
Yeah, he's not a big bat, and I'm
No.
and I know he pulls the ball a lot. A lot of those home runs are Mickey Mouse home runs at what's it
Mhm.
called now in Houston?
I still call it Minute Maid Park.
Minute Maid. Okay, Minute Maid
That's not
Park.
what it is. That's not
Yeah.
what it is, but I still call it Minute Maid Park. Um, I love that's my favorite park name. Um,
I
I
love
don't know
apple
why,
juice.
but it has always been like ever since it was called Minute Maid Park. I was like, I love that. That's great. Um, but yeah, it is. You're right. It's a lot of pulled home runs that are shot to that kind of short left field, and while that's the case in Boston too, it's also not a 32-foot high wall out there. And the Crawford boxes are tall, but they're
Mhm.
not that tall. Um, I don't think there's a right-handed bat that actually makes a difference that can be had right now. I'm sitting here just trying to like tick through some names, and none of them make sense. Not a one for the cost for what you would be willing for what you would have to pay to get them. If you could turn I the Red Sox are technically what 3.5 games out of the last wild card spot right now.
Yeah, three and
I
a half.
don't believe that they'll get it. I believe there's a magical 7 game run that gets them there.
Mhm.
I don't know about you.
Yeah, I just no, I don't think that this. Yeah, unless they go on like like 7. I mean, dare I say 10? But I don't
Which
have faith
happened
in.
last year.
Yeah, they had a pretty long winning streak.
It was
Well,
10 games into the All-Star break.
so did the Twins had like one of the longest win streaks last year, and
Something like that, yeah.
then they sold like half their bullpen at the trade deadline. So maybe that's what
Right.
the Red Sox will do this year.
I mean, unless like Sonny Gray, Garrett Whitlock, I actually think that you hold on to Willson Contreras. He's technically under contract for 2 more seasons.
Hmm.
I don't think that you deal him at the deadline. Um, but yeah, Gray, Whitlock. If you could get somebody to bite on Story, Yoshida, Duran, your big chip is Aroldis Chapman. That's it. You hold maybe the biggest ace in the hole on the trade market with Chapman. And every game that Chapman pitches that he's not traded is a risk because Chapman is in his upper 30s. And he's never had a significant injury before. He's gotten his feet infected from tattoos, but he's never blown his elbow or done anything like that. Every pitch that Aroldis Chapman throws for a team that is out of contention is the biggest risk this team can take right now. Bob Nightingale, grain of salt because it's Bob, had the report today that AJ Preller and the Padres are very interested in acquiring Aroldis Chapman to pair with Mason Miller at the back end of their bullpen. And holy crap, is that a terrifying prospect for everybody in the playoffs? So not us.
Yeah, I mean, well, aren't they're kind of creeping up on the Dodgers right now too? So they
Have
really
they
want to.
now?
They are.
Or they were before this series.
They are. Yeah, 1.5 games back, but
Okay.
I mean, the Dodgers have a lot of holes this year. I mean, more than previous years, despite signing Kyle Tucker and Edwin Diaz in the offseason. And I mean, the Padres have been in this weird limbo in the postseason, and Preller has been very aggressive at the trade deadline, as we've witnessed. And if you
Yeah.
can get a guy like a Ethan Salas from,
That's where I was
yeah,
going. Yeah. I mean, Preller is crazy, but he's not dumb. But Brock, we were talking today in our podcast chat. I want to remember exactly how he put it because I thought it was great. Um, Preller has Ethan Salas in the system having an outstanding season that means he's 100% going for it at the deadline and making an absurd trade. Like that is AJ Preller MO 100%. You've got somebody, Leo DeVries or DeVries or however you say his name, who was apparently on the table in a Jarren Duran deal last season. That was sent to the A's for Mason Miller as the headliner. He was tearing up Double-A last year, and magically he's gone. Salas was part of that deal last year too, from everything that I've read. And last year was like, defense first catcher, da-da-da-da. If you watched any of Salas' second half of the season, you saw him putting it together. The at-bats started to look really, really good. He started to look very confident. Right now, he's in Double-A. He's with San Antonio. Over 137 at-bats. He's slashing 307, 370. This doesn't have a slug. It has his OPS. Or his OBP. But he's got 9 stolen bases, 24 RBI, 6 home runs. So he's currently slashing 307, 370, 496 with an 866 OBP or OPS. He's been caught stealing once. He has 9 stolen bases, struck out 30 times, walked 15 times, 24 RBIs. If you look at his numbers last year, same league, only played in 10 games, 188, 325, 219. Now, that's a 10-game sample. He was obviously hurt last year. But, I mean, if you can get Ethan Salas, that solves a number of problems probably next season for you. One, it clears your books of Chapman, who's wasted on this team if they're not making playoffs. And it lands you, I mean, I don't know what his Baseball America, what his prospect ranking is.
He's number 1 in 22.
Okay. So, I mean, that's solid.
Mm-hmm.
I don't care about per team. But do you trust Craig to make that trade?
No. No. And I don't know anything about just how not GMs, Pobos interact with each other. But he's kind of like the weird kid people avoid in the lunchroom.
Most of the reports are that people don't like dealing with him.
Mm-hmm. And Preller seems like he has a lot of riz and could butter him up.
Yeah. Preller is such an interesting guy. I do wonder if he's still in on Jarren Duran like he had been last year. I don't know what else that system looks like. So I don't know. Not that Duran is some like centerpiece of a trade package anymore, like he would have been in 24 and most of last season and the offseason. But I mean, if you could get a couple more pieces thrown in that are close, maybe a Tatis, something like that. A name that I've seen floated is Manny Machado, and I think the people in Boston would riot if Manny Machado was traded to the Red Sox.
No. Yeah, I'd fly up with my pitchfork.
Yeah, so I guess this will be kind of where we end it. Do you believe that Craig Breslow is going to be fired at the end of this season?
If they think they can hire somebody before December 1st, when the CBA expires, yes. If not, no.
Okay.
And they can't do. Could they? They could. They could informally be like asking around, but even then, I think word would get back to Craig, and then he'd be like
Probably,
chasing his tail.
So my gut says that Breslow will be fired.
Mm-hmm.
I think that this massive push for a right-handed power bat is exactly what this is. If you know, as John Henry, Sam Kennedy, Tom Warner, FSG, LeBron James, who's just in all the daily conversation about the Red Sox. If you know, as an owner of this team, that you are letting go of Craig Breslow at the end of the season, fire him now. Do not let him mess up his third trade deadline, because he's 2 for 2 in bad trade deadlines.
Mm-hmm.
Don't let him mess up a third and set you even further back. I would trust Eddie Romero way more than I would trust. I would trust Raquel way more than I would trust Craig Breslow to navigate this trade deadline. I said it in our podcast chat today. All they should have done was given Paul Taboni the title of assistant GM when they hired Craig. And then Taboni, who's setting the Nationals up to be a good team relatively soon, would be able just to slot in, take over, and you would be in a pretty good situation. That's not a thing now. Let Eddie Romero navigate this trade deadline. I trust him more than I trust Craig Breslow.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I've been seeing that floating around on social media too. Another concern I have is that Sox Stats also posted about this. I think it was earlier today, or like the day before today, yesterday. Anyway, that Craig like gutted the entire scouting department.
Yep.
And it's like down to maybe 3 dudes and their algorithm. So I also, I'm concerned about like just how they're evaluating players. I mean, this also goes back to the Durbin trade. Like, what did they really see in him? Like, and other Pobos will say something explicitly like, "Oh, we liked his plate discipline," or "We liked the way his bat travels across the plane." Like, well, not like that technical, but just they give a concrete example of why
an
they
actual
pursue
answer.
that. Yeah, not the $20 word salad.
Yeah. I mean, when you look at the Rays, the Guardians, the Brewers, who's kind of the model that I think Craig is trying to follow. The Boston Red Sox are essentially an AL Central team, is the way it feels. They have huge scouting departments, huge. And Craig brought in this outside firm to audit the Red Sox system. And I mean, they just got a bunch of people fired, guys who had been in the organization for years. I'm not saying because you've been there forever, you deserve to keep your job. Like, if you're not doing what you're supposed to do, but these were like well-respected guys in the scouting world who the next day had jobs with other teams who were probably responsible for bringing on a lot of these players that we're starting to hear about in these minor league systems. The scout who found Roman Anthony was let go.
Mm-hmm. Was it Moishi?
Maybe that sounds right.
Okay, the Carl dude, and I understand that like a lot of stuff in today's world can be done virtually, but if you're scouting the next face of your franchise, you need to be seeing these players in person. Just there are so many things that you can get from just watching a young player, directly. Just, I mean, you see how they react after striking out. You see whether they're the first person to show up at the field for practice. You see how their parents are. Just, I mean, all these effects that a video can't tell you, or an algorithm.
You know what's really, really interesting to me? It is, let me get the name of the podcast so it's right. Theo Epstein just did his first interview in ages. Yeah, there it is. Hold on. It's Carl Ravitch and Justin Musil. It's called Dirt from the Dugout. Theo Epstein was on their most recent episode that posted 5 days ago. When this comes out, there'll be a new episode to post. One thing, and I didn't write it down, and I probably should have, was Theo was talking about when he was GM CBO, Pobo, whatever the title is, for all of these guys that they were drafting and that they wanted. He was like, we had these like notebooks on each kid, and we talked to them, and we talked to their teammates, and we talked to their friends, and we talked to their siblings, we talked to their ex-girlfriends, we talked to people that were on other teams. Like, we did our due diligence across the board for everybody that we considered bringing into the organization. Theo is now part of an ownership group that has installed a Pobo of the Red Sox, who has absolutely decimated the scouting department for the Red Sox. So for Theo to be that open on this podcast, and it doesn't really get into any Red Sox stuff until the very end. When he does, and I mean, he's an owner. He says that, he has faith in Craig and all this other stuff. But it's just a really good listen. But when Theo's going on this podcast, he's like, yeah, like scouting's where it's at. That's how we find these kids. That's how we build these organizations. That's how we build perennial winners. And then you got a Pobo of the Boston Red Sox who has, like I said, completely decimated the scouting department. It flies in the face of what one of your owners and one of your, I forget what he calls himself, but like one of your like extra people that are in the room believes. And when push comes to shove, I think Theo is a smarter baseball mind than Craig Breslow.
I don't disagree with you there. I think even Breslow himself is aware of that to some extent.
I do wonder if that bothers him. Because he's the smartest man in baseball, but when Theo's in the room, he's not the smartest man in the room.
Yeah, I don't want to dig on Breslow too much here.
I know.
Yeah. Who cares though? I mean, you work together as a team to work towards or to complete your goal. And I mean, you put your egos aside, which I mean, I'll bring up the Nationals job description again, where I mean, everybody was Taboni was talking about humility. Well, he didn't write that, but he had a lot of say into what went into that job description, and it seemed like stuff that wasn't going on or isn't going on in the Red Sox front office.
Yeah, and I don't think that you can run an effective. I don't think you can run an effective professional baseball organization without those qualities as well, and I don't think that Craig Breslow possesses those. I look forward to the episode that we record in a post Craig Breslow world. I don't know what that looks like. I don't know who takes that job. There's some names out there that are potentials, and I don't want to. We're at almost an hour 20 now. We need to wrap this up. I don't want to get into it now, but in short, we don't trust Craig Breslow to navigate the trade deadline and to acquire Ethan Salas for Aroldis Chapman, even though that deal should get done tonight. As soon as if I'm Breslow and I see that report, I am on the phone with AJ Preller right then. You want Chappie? What are you going to pay for him? And if Salas isn't part of that, nope, have a good day and hang up the phone because Preller will call you back.
Yeah, he will. In this front office also just stuff doesn't get out until the moment the news breaks.
Yeah. And then it comes out a week later that they think they're way closer on a Joe Ryan trade than they actually are. And the Twins are like, I barely even spoke to Craig Breslow.
If that happens again, I will be ripping my hair out at the end of July.
I think that if he's tasked with this trade deadline and it's the same result as the last two, I think that the day after the trade deadline, he's probably fired.
Huh.
I mean, they fired Dabrowski in the stands in September, didn't they?
Yeah.
There's a video of him sitting watching BP and Sam and Tom and John are talking to him and he looks furious. And they're like, well, I think we know what just happened in this conversation.
At least take him to like some room where like people can't see. But I mean,
Or that's when they told him that his job was to trade Mookie Betts, and he said no. And they said, well, if you don't trade him, you're going to lose your job. And I could see that making Dombrowski furious as well. So
okay,
um,
okay.
I think those are the two options for what was going on in that conversation. Either he was told you got to trade Mookie, and he's trying to process it, or he was told he was being fired for already saying that he wasn't going to trade Mookie. So yeah, we will. I don't know. We got the Braves coming up, and that Strider, Elder, Sale. And then we go to Cleveland and play the Guardians, who are playing a good brand of baseball. We realistically could be looking at a 9-game losing streak when it's all said and done, when we record again. So if that's the case, then I think we're going to have some drastically different conversations a week from now.
I'll be in Cleveland this weekend, so I'll be.
Okay.
I can report live from from the trenches.
Yeah. That'll be good. I'm looking forward to that. Are you working on anything right now?
Not at the moment. Are you?
I've got a piece, obviously, the weekend review, and then I've got a piece going up about Bayo's success after working with an opener, and how that needs to be his role for as long as he's on the team through 2026. So I think both of those will probably be out in the next couple of days. So be on the lookout for that. As always, we've got a ton of really, really good writers and really, really good pieces on the website. Nick's been doing some work. He's got a really good one that went up today about the Red Sox own version of Shohei Ohtani, which is not actually what it's about, but that's what the headline says. So give it a read. It's really good. And we will catch you guys back here next week after hopefully not back-to-back sweeps at the hands of the Twins, the Braves, and the Guardians. So thanks for listening, and we'll catch you guys next week.